Welcome back to another podcast style video. The last time I did a video like this, I was sharing my conspiracy theories on the election, which didn't play out. However, there's still time because there's still a chance that there will be a delay at the inauguration that will cause chaos. So let's see. But that's not what I'm talking about in this video today. Today, what I really want to do is I want to catch you up on the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that you guys don't see on this channel that goes on as a part of TTC, as a part of my life, because some pretty cool stuff happens that I rarely document. And right now I feel really accomplished. I feel really proud of myself. I feel like ideas that I've had for so long that finally have been implemented are working and they're successful. And I think it's really important to celebrate your success. So yeah, I want to share that stuff with you. So this is going to be a little bit about my life, business behind the scenes, and who knows where else we'll go. It's just going to be a rant and we'll see kind of what happens. Not going to talk too much about the market, but I have to say, I cannot believe that the last video I did like this actually was the highest viewed video on my channel for the last month, which to me is crazy. Like, you guys watch me for technical analysis to understand what's going to happen with Bitcoin, what's going to happen with cryptocurrency. But that video that was really just me spewing thoughts on anything random, got more views than my technical analysis videos, which I studied years to be good at. So let's see how this one goes. First thing I want to get into is the last few weekends that I've had here in Dubai. I'm going to tell you what's been going on, the events that I've been going to, and the experiences that people have been having from being part of TTC. The first one starts with an event that I went to. It was a content creators event, and content creators in the crypto space from all over the world were invited to Dubai to go to this few-day event and learn from big names in the social media industry. And it was really, really cool event. As you guys probably know by now, we have a new host on the channel, 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗏. I met him at Token 2049 in September. He came up to me to tell me that one of my videos helped him with his trading. We got talking, we got along really well. And, you know, as two relatively small creators in the space, we were like, you know, we're on the same mission. Why don't we link arms and do this together? And that's kind of how that whole partnership was born. You know, right now there are so many massive channels in crypto that it's really hard to get noticed when you're not one of them. You know, when new people come into the crypto space and they're searching crypto, the largest channels are going to come up first. That's just, you know, that's just kind of how it is. And we thought, you know, why don't we build this army of smaller content creators that are all on the same mission together, and we can help each other and use our expertise in each different area to help each other grow. I know that I have an amazing business model. I know that I have something that is proven and that works. And the next step from that is seeing if it's replicable. In case you're not aware, prior to being in the crypto industry, I owned dance studios and I franchised them. So I learned a lot of lessons from franchising. One being that, you know, you can have a successful business and that doesn't mean that it's a replicable model. In order to have a replicable model, you need to then build that business somewhere else and not be in it. So you need to see if it can do as well being managed 100% by someone else that is just following instructions that you've created. And once you can do that, that's when you have a franchisable model, and you can then go out and actually sell that model to other people. So I took the lessons from franchising and was like, well, how do I build a model in crypto that is replicable? Because there's a lot of things that we've wanted to do. We have some pretty amazing tech behind the scenes at TTC. If you've ever come into our community, it's probably been a much more seamless process than probably anywhere else that you've been to. We can provide instant access to things. We've worked with exchanges to double check everything, to verify things. You know, we've worked with them to develop technology that allows us to reward you when you're trading well. Like, we've done so many things that most people haven't even thought of, and that helps us to build our business. It helps us to build popularity with exchanges, and then those exchanges, obviously that helps their revenue, so then they're happy, and then when they're happy, they reward our community. And so that's how the whole thing kind of works. And it's working, you know. So Pedro and I linked arms, and now we're doing the same model with him, and it's working as well. He's hitting goals that took him, you know, the whole time he was on his own. He's done it in a few weeks with us already, and he's also bringing amazing value to this channel. So everything just worked really, really well. And coming back to this conference that we were at, where we met a whole bunch of people from all over the world, we got into similar conversations like that, where I met, you know, content creators who speak all these other languages, and I just sat there and I just realized what this could be and where we could go next. So I'm all about it. I'm all about the underdogs linking arms and growing together. And, you know, I know that I have now a system that really works and that other people get value from in their businesses, and I can pass that on. You know, we've built our basically a plug and play system. It's still in progress, but literally you link arms with us. It gets plug and play into your system. All you focus on is building revenue from your company, and you just do that by doing content. And that's what content creators want, which is another really big lesson that I learned from having a franchise, especially a creative franchise, because my franchise was dance studios, right? And here's where creative businesses and franchise models don't work. Dancers want to be creative, right? It's an art form. They want to feel free to express themselves. But when you build a franchise model, it has to be so systemized so that you get a Big Mac from McDonald's in the US, it's going to taste the same as a Big Mac from McDonald's in Australia. You know, that's how strict franchise models have to be. No matter where you go in the world, you are going to get the same product. And so that's how I built out my dance studios, was that didn't matter, like if you learned this dance move at one location and then you went to the other location, you were going to learn it the exact same way. And sure, that's great for the customer because they know the quality they're going to get, they know the experience they're going to get, but it wasn't great for the people who actually worked there, who were artists and didn't get to be creative. They had to just teach from a manual, and that's all kind of they had to do. And you may not know this, but in my industry, or in my old industry, that's not my industry anymore, I created most of the studio owners of today, like in Australia. I created most of them. The thing was, most of them didn't join my franchise. So when I think about that, I'm like, okay, these are people who wanted to become studio owners, but they didn't choose to do it with me. Why? And it took me a while, and it was only like after that business was gone that I realized the reason that they chose to go out on their own as opposed to just joining an already established brand was because they wanted to be creative. And so I took those lessons into this model now, and I thought, no, the goal here is to build multi-language channels, right? That's what we want to do. And if I'm going to do that, content creators are just as creative as dancers, and I have to allow them that ability to be creative. So I learned from my past, like, not to build like, you know, trade, travel, chill Spain, trade, travel, chill China. You know, that's not going to work. I need to instead do partnerships where you do you on your channel. You keep doing the stuff that makes you happy and the stuff that you get up for every day, the reason you keep fulfilling your mission. Just let me plug the system in that I know that works. It's going to help you grow your business and grow your communities. And the more we do all of that stuff, the more people we help. And of course, the revenue is a reward of that. So that's what we're doing. And I've come full circle. Like, my dancing business ended not great, and it was very traumatic for a really long time. It caused me a lot of pain. I had a lot of shame because I felt like it failed. Although nobody else would ever describe that business as a failure, it just felt like it to me because it didn't end how I thought it would end. Like, it didn't end in my control. So for a long time, I felt shame and I felt like a failure. And now, like, it's been a decade, probably more, but well, maybe it hasn't been a decade actually, but now that it's all come full circle, I've realized that it was a blessing because now I can take those lessons, plug them into this and make sure that I don't make the same mistakes. And it's working, it's going really, really well. And I just realized being at that content creator event that there are so many smaller creators out there that, aren't part of the really big YouTube channels, that we're on a real mission. Like, we're on a real genuine mission that, this time, like, we want the authenticity. We don't want to be shilling things. We want to genuinely spread our knowledge to people in hopes that it actually does help someone. We want to help people navigate this cycle. And therefore, if we're all on the same mission, like, why don't we just do it together, and take the best pieces of what each person is doing and just create this underdog empire. You know what I mean? And it feels so good because I feel like now I have a social media team. It was really cool to meet people that are really respectful. Like, I wasn't expecting that. There was a lot of people that would come up and thank me for my content, saying that, it's helped them with their content, it's helped them guide their community. And I just find that so honorable, because a lot of the times people would just rip off your content and act like they never knew you. And to have people come up and say, like, no, I get value from you, like, that felt really good. I was just making sure this mic is turned the right way. I'm pretty sure it is. So anyway, that was really cool. Now, let me tell you the next part of this evolution of Trade Travel Chill that I just think is so cool, and it all just happens. And a bit of a backstory, Trade Travel Chill was never meant to actually be a business. It was an Instagram name. I was literally sitting on a couch like this. We had like a common room in a apartment building that I lived in Australia, and one of my best friends lived in the same building. So I would sit on this couch. There was another couch there, like there actually is another couch there now, but there was another couch there. She would sit there. We would both be on our laptops and we would just do our work together, just in each other's presence. And she was doing whatever she was doing, and I was thinking about my Instagram, and I was wanting to change my Instagram name, but I didn't want it to be my name, because it was at the time that my business failed. I was going through like the grieving process of losing my father, and I just didn't like 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗃, and I just didn't want to exist. So I didn't want my name to be that on Instagram. And I was literally just sitting there thinking, what are the 3 things that I love to do the most? And it was trade, travel, chill. Like, that's it. That's what I love to do. I love to trade. I love to travel. And I love doing things that are like the ultimate luxurious relaxation. Like, my dream is to go to like the Swiss Alps and do one of those like high-tech facial treatments, like with technology that like it's not available anywhere else in the world. Like, that's a dream to me, But I didn't know if that name was like stupid. And my friend was like quite big on Instagram at the time in her niche. And so I just asked her, I was like, what do you think of this? And she was like, I really like it. And that was enough for me. So I was like, okay, if I got her seal of approval, that's kind of what I'm naming it. And so I named my Instagram Trade Travel Chill, and then I was just trading, and I was in somebody else's community, and I was like, getting a lot of attention because I was high frequency trading, and I was a bit of a maniac, I have to be honest with you. Like, I was trading very small time frames. I was trading 13 hours a day. I would open like 17 trades at a time. Like, I don't know how I managed it all. It was crazy, but it did lead to me being able to really accelerate my learning, and that led to where I am today. But I got a lot of attention because of it. And then that place asked if I would start teaching their community, to which I said yes. And then because of that, people then started knowing who I was, and they knew that there was this Instagram called Trade Travel Chill, and started getting followers and whatnot. So eventually I decided to leave them because they changed their business model and they turned into a MLM, multi-level marketing. And I just didn't like that idea. First of all, I've never liked multi-level marketing, but I also just was really hesitant because I know that sometimes when you're in that business model, the focus for the customer turns from them learning whatever it is, whatever the reason was that they're joining that company, to selling that company, So I was really hesitant, but I trusted them, and I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a go and see how it goes. Ended up becoming one of the biggest salespeople for this company, but it wasn't because I was like, yay, I'm in an MLM, I want to build a downline. Like, I actually had a horrible downline. I didn't really have levels below me because I didn't mentor people to sell the business. I just taught them how to trade. And because I was teaching them how to trade, that's how more people would come in, and then they'd be like, I want to be under you because then I get your guidance and blah, blah, blah. So I just I grew because I stuck to the original vision, which was I want people to learn how to trade, not to learn how to sell your business. It kind of like the pressure sort of started on me where people like, Annie, like not people, the owners were like, you've got this big downline, like you should be training them and how they can recruit and da da da. And I'm like, but I don't want to do any of that. Like none of that is aligned with my values. I just want to help people become genuinely, independently, financially free. And I believe like trading is really one of the only ways to do that, you know, especially after being in business and having it like ripped away from me overnight. Like I know that nothing lasts forever, but trading is a skill no one can take away from you. And that's all I really wanted to focus on. And so I started to become unhappy there because I felt the pressure to be doing something that wasn't aligned with my values. And then the owners of that company they just made some decisions that I just I didn't really agree with. As a business person, I was like, I wouldn't make those decisions. And then I kind of had just a bit of a wake up call one day where I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I still here when this company isn't aligned with my values? Like, I'm not being an authentic person if I'm sitting here like listening to unhappy customers, because people would say to me that I'm the only reason they stayed. And I'm like, but you shouldn't be spending your money on something that makes you unhappy just to have access to me. And that just, it just didn't sit right with me. So I ended up leaving. I didn't have really any plans to do anything, but a small group of people were like, start your own thing. And I thought, okay, fine. Like I'll just start a Discord. It's not that hard. I'll start a Discord and charge $50 and maybe a few friends will join. And I was like, what will I call it? Well, my Instagram name is Trade Travel Chill. Let's just call it that. And then that's it. There was a business all of a sudden, you know, and like it took off right from the start. And I was like, holy shit, because I hadn't built anything. Like I hadn't built courses. I had nothing. I had like a Wix website. like it was not great, but at the end of the day, I could trade and I could guide people on how to trade every day, and that was enough for them. And we built it together over time, you know? I think the moral of the story is like, I knew when I decided to do it, I knew from like early on that, okay, we'll do trading. And then there was a part of me that's like, okay, well, what's the travel and what's the chill, you know, because there's a potential for 3 arms of this business. And I know what the trade is, but what's the travel and what's the chill? And I didn't really know what they would be, but I knew that it would come to me one day. And I knew that all I had to do now was just focus on building the trade, and the rest will come when the time is right. And so for a while, I thought the travel would be doing my travel vlogs, you know, but I don't particularly enjoy doing them. Like I know that my community enjoys them because they feel like they're going on a trip with me, and I'll do it for that reason. But for me personally, I don't really like having to pull out a camera everywhere I go. Like I travel because I want to see the world through my eyes, and I don't travel because I'm like, oh, I'm going to go here and get content. Like it's also not part of the chill, right? Because then it becomes work. I really genuinely just want to experience those things in my life for myself. So I thought it made sense that the travel would be travel vlogs, and then eventually I would get, you know, hotel sponsorships and blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't. It's amazing how like when you put out an idea to the world and you're like, okay, this is what I want to manifest into my life. If you try to control how that comes in, it likely won't. So I thought the only thing that makes logical sense is I do hotel reviews, and then hotels will start reaching out to me, and then I'll get hotels for free. And I was trying to force myself to go down that way. But the universe has delivered that manifestation in a completely different way. And that comes back to the second thing that has just happened. So if you watch his channel, you might know that a few months ago, I did a video on the 90-day plan. I showed you guys how I plan out every 90 days like it's a year, which is a model that I got from one of my old business coaches. You know, I set goals so that I can accomplish things a lot faster. Now, when I did that video, I said on there that my 90-day goal was to run a retreat, or to have all the plans in place to run a retreat. And so after that video was done, I started planning it. I started looking for venues. I started thinking about what country will we hold it in, what's going to be most accessible for everyone, costs, you know, how many people do I think would actually go, like everything. I started planning it all. And then when I was doing the numbers on it, one thing about me is if I can find a way for my community to achieve something without it costing them a lot of money, that's always something that is on my mind that I'm thinking about. So when I was costing it all out, I thought, I don't want people to spend this kind of money to come and spend 5 days with me. And so I thought, what else can I do? And so I just randomly picked up my phone and I messaged my Bitunix manager and I said, hey, I want to run a retreat. Do you think there's any chance that Bitunix would sponsor it? Because I thought if I could get sponsorship from an exchange, then that will allow me to reduce the cost. So they said yes. And then I was like, great. And then I went into this period of waiting to like kind of figure out where we would go with that next. And then we ended up at Token in Singapore and had lunch with him, and he said, Annie, I've come up with an idea. And he said, why don't we run a trading competition and 5 winners will get flown out to Dubai no matter where they are in the world, and we'll spend 5 days taking them on adventures and showing them Dubai and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, what? Like, this is insane. I've never heard of anything like this being done before. I don't know if it's been done before in this industry. It may have, but this was a community only thing, right? So it wasn't a public trading competition that just anyone could go to Bitunix and enter. You had to be part of the TTC community in order to be able to enter this competition and have a chance to be flown to Dubai from no matter where you are in the world and hang out with us for 5 days. And so I was just like, this is incredible. Like, yes, let's do it. So then we went into the process of planning it all out, working like, you know, what would qualify, blah, blah, blah. Figured it all out, ran the competition, absolutely smashed the targets that we needed to hit in order to make it happen. And we qualified 5 winners. One of them couldn't make it in the end, but he got compensated in a different way. But the other 4 flew out. And so they have just spent the whole last week here in Dubai with the Bitunix team and me, and we had the most incredible time. Like, I don't think I realized the impact of that happening until I saw the first photo in our Telegram chat. The first person arrived and posted a photo of the Dubai skyline. And it hit me in that moment how big this was and the opportunity that we've given these people. Like, I think one of them had been to Dubai before, but the others had never been here and it was their first time. And me, because this is now home, I've been here for a couple of years now, you start to take it for granted, you know, this is like your normal life. Like, the Burj is next door to me. I see it every day. So it doesn't feel as grand anymore and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So when I saw that picture in Telegram, it hit me again, that first feeling that I got when I first came here and was like, oh, wow, this is an amazing city. It came back to me and I realized like how big it was, what we've done together, you know, Bitunix and TTC. This is really huge. And it's not huge just for the 5 people that won. It's huge for my whole community because now they're going to know that those sort of opportunities come if you're part of this. And just like it was those 4 guys that came this time, there's no reason why it couldn't be you next time. And wait till I tell you the stories of like how long they've even been in the community. Day 1, we took them on the 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗵 tour and had dinner and saw like the fountain show. And it was just really really chill, fun. Everyone just got to know each other. Turns out one of them was from the UK, one was from US, and two were from Australia. One was from Sydney, Australia, and the other was from Geelong in Victoria. And then I also flew out one of my trading coaches, Cajun, so he was there too. Everyone just got along really well, you know, and it was so cool to see. This is truly a global community. There's literally UK, US, Australia is here. Like, that's insane. So even that was like a pinch me moment, you know, like this person who just was like looking for an Instagram name now has this global community with absolutely no barriers because my content is delivered over the internet, and that means that I can reach anyone. And it just confirmed to me even more that this idea that I have of building multi-language communities, it's the right way to go because they're the only people I can't reach. And sure, I could just use AI to translate my videos, but I understand the superpower of my business. And the superpower of my business is my connection and my team's connection to my community. That's what keeps everyone happy. You know, if you were to ever go into my Discord, you would see there is constantly people thanking myself and my team for the fact that we answer questions all the time. Like as if that's not normal. You know, it should be normal. You're in a community. You know, we have live sessions 3 times a day. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you wake up or if you come home from work and you're like, I've got 3 hours to find a trade, there's probably a live session that just happened or is just about to happen that you can jump on to get thoughts of our traders and get a trade. Like, that's not normal. Most people will do live sessions 3 times a week. We do them 3 times a day. It doesn't really matter where you are in the world. You will be served by the product that we offer. The next day, we went to Abu Dhabi. We took them to the Grand Mosque, and before that, we actually tried to go to the palace, which I love the palace, but we got there, and because it's winter in Dubai, it's the best time to be here. The weather is like 30 degrees. There's a beautiful like sea breeze. It's amazing time to be here. And that means that there's a lot of tourists here right now and everything is kind of crazy busy. So we go to the palace first and the line was huge. So Luke, who is my Bitunix manager, Luke goes up to the front of the line and ask the people that work there, like, is there a higher level ticket we can buy that will allow us to skip the line? And the guy goes, like, he gave the most boss answer. He goes, this is Abu Dhabi. We don't need your money. And I was just like, because Abu Dhabi, like, if you don't know the two places, like Dubai, I think of Dubai as like young money, you know, it's kind of the classless, let's wear a designer label, let's drive a Lambo. You know what I mean? It's like we have to flash that we're rich because we need to make sure that you know that we're rich. That's kind of Dubai. But Abu Dhabi is old money. Abu Dhabi is like, I've got nothing to prove to you. If you don't want to think I'm wealthy, good luck to you. But like, it's old, understated money. Like, it's true wealth, you know? So when they said that, I just thought that was hilarious. So we didn't end up going there, but we went to the Grand Mosque and, you know, that was amazing as well. Day 3, we did a safari. So we took them out to the desert and they got to ride those like desert road bikes. I don't know what they're called. They rode the bikes and then they went in like a car and like drove over the dunes and everything. I skipped that bit. I didn't go in the cars myself because, you know, I've got my health issues lately and they really like affect my stomach. I get really bad vertigo and I get really bad stomach ache. So it's like that combination over sand dunes, probably not the smartest thing I can do right now. So I skipped it, but I just watched them do it. And then we went at sunset, we went to a dinner and a show in the desert and it was incredible. It was really, really fun time. The next day, so that was day 3. Day 4, we went to the Gold Souk. I skipped that day. So by that day, I was like, can't do it. Like, I was really, really not feeling well, but they had all said to me, like, don't worry about it. like we're cool, we're chill, like go rest. So I thought of all the days, that's probably the best day for me to rest because, you know, you're just kind of walking around looking at gold. It's not really all that exciting. Actually, I forgot the prior day to that, before we did the dunes, we did a half day mentorship as well. And then it was the last day. So the way that we ended this trip was the most perfect way to end it. Like I could not think of a better way to end it. We met in the afternoon and we went on a boat cruise. We went out to JBR and they hired jet skis for the guys as well. So we went out to JBR. We kind of, I don't know if it's called docked. It's not docked because you're not in a dock, whatever it is. We stopped there. I'm not a boat person. And they pulled out the jet skis and yeah, the guys went wild. So there was like Adam, who was the one from Geelong. He went nuts. He was just having the time of his life. You could tell, like he had the biggest smile on his face and he was just caning it. Adam, this is your first time in Dubai, right?
Sure is.
And tell us, I know that you really enjoyed the jet skis today.
It's been an amazing experience.
What's been your favourite?
Everything. There's not one thing that hasn't been good.
Sam is like the seasoned professional. He has jet skis himself and he has boats and he's, you know, lives his life on the water. Hey Sam, how have you enjoyed your 5 days in Dubai?
Shit house. Don't you put that up.
In the next competition, point 1 is going to be, if your UID is this, you are not allowed to enter. If you wanted a bit of adrenaline, like I'd probably ride on the back of a jet ski with Sam. But if you want safety, then you had to go Mohammed. So Mohammed was from UK. And the funny thing was, so Mohammed's only been in the community 3 months. Three or 4 months, and was one of the winners of the competition. Mohammed, how have your 5 days been into? This is your first time in Dubai as well, right?
First time,
Yes, and you are one of the comp winners too.
Yes.
How's your experience been over these last 5 days?
It's been absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing?
I think trying out the jet ski.
Yeah, the jet
I'm
ski.
proper nervous.
Adam, from memory, I think was around the same period of time and has done amazingly well. Alex, who was from the US, he's been with us about a year.
My favorite part of the 5 days is definitely getting to hang around with the team.
Yeah.
And meeting the Bitunix team. They're
Yeah.
definitely good people. They're very humble. They are a good team to connect with, and I recommend them. Definitely.
Awesome. And Sam, I think, has been with us the longest. So again, goes to show with dedication, like you can be the winner of a competition like this. And then we had Cajun, our team member, again, used to jet skis, used to boating life. He went sick, and yeah, at the end he just jumps in the water and I'm like, who are you? I don't know this Cajun, you know, but he was just living his best free life. So it was so cool. And then, you know, we cruised around the whole 𝗵 Jumeirah as the sun was kind of setting, and I was just completely blissed, just lying there with the warm sun on my face. It was amazing. And then we finished that off by going to the Atlantis for dinner, Atlantis Royal. We went to a restaurant called Gastronomy, and it was like a buffet with like all different cuisines from all over the world, and you could just like pick what you want, whatever, and had this beautiful, you know, scenery of Dubai skyline. So here's the thing. After all of that happened, I realized like this is the travel part of Trade Travel Chill. It was never about me. It was never about me going on trips and filming it and just being like, hey guys, watch my life. I'm not that person anyway. And that's why it never sat comfortably with me. I remember when I said to you, the things come to you when they're meant to come to you. It wasn't meant to come to me until this trip. And that's why I was like blown away, because I didn't fathom how big this was until those people arrived here and I got to watch the experience and the joy that they had. Then I was like, holy crap, we've done something really big here, and this is what it needs to be, because I am all about community. Anything I do in my life, I'm always thinking about how can I show other people how to do this? How can I make this thing that I'm doing more accessible to other people? It's never about me just wanting to build my own wealth and just be like, everybody look at me, I'm so rich. That's not my purpose from being here. So I realized like this is the reason all of these things have evolved in my crypto career. Very early on, I was so lucky. Nobody was paying attention to me. I had like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I had like maybe 100 people in my Discord, and I randomly get an email from OKX saying, do you know about our partner program, blah, blah, which I didn't know. End up in a conversation, end up with like the best manager ever. And he taught me how that world works and how this can like help you provide opportunities. And if you've been watching me for a while, you will know this, but the very first trip I was ever invited on was to the Formula One in Abu Dhabi with OKX. And I was like, what the hell? Why am I being invited on this trip? I'm no one. What the hell is going on? For some reason, they saw something in me, and he was asking me a lot of questions back then about my community, about, you know, how we trade, what do we do, like what's the secret kind of thing. And I'm like, why are you asking me these questions? Like, I didn't really know what was going on. And in the end, he said to me, for the fact that like you are a relatively small creator, and he's like, no offense, he's like, you build really good trading volume, and so that's why we're trying to figure out what you do. And I was like, so the reason he was asking me all these questions is because he wanted to know what the business model was. And the reason that happened back then was because, again, as you know, I was part of another community. And so I was one trading educator in this community. And then there was other trading educators as well. And I would see the comments. I'm very good at understanding people's thoughts and their learning process, right? Because this isn't my first time being a teacher. I was a dance teacher. So I've been a teacher my whole life. My mother was also a teacher. So I understand like people's educational journey, like their process of gaining knowledge in something. I understand, I can read that very well. And in that old community, I would often see people very, very confused and not understand like what trade they should be taking, because I would have one opinion, my co-worker had a different opinion, the boss had another opinion. They're like, who do we listen to? But what the community didn't understand at the time was every single one of us was trading different time frames. So someone trading a small time frame might be long because on a small time frame we are long, but someone on a high time frame might be short because the macro cycle is bearish, for example. And that just wasn't really explained to people. So people would come in and just be like, I'm so confused. All these trainers are saying different things. And so I realized like Trade Travel Chill isn't going to run that way. We're going to teach one system and one system only. And we're all going to be on the same page. And sure, people will interpret that system a little bit differently. That's natural. That's what's going to happen. Like, we're traders. You have to make up your own mind at the end of the day, but you will still gain value from learning how each person interprets that system. What I realized very early on is like, whether you count levels differently, that's usually where the conflict is like, okay, this person's counting it as rise 2, but this other person's counting it as rise 3. That's usually the conflict, but we usually have the direction pretty much similar to each other. And so I realized like if that OKX manager was asking me, what are you doing? That must be the thing that's working, because as a result of us all trading the one system in our Discord, it means that every single person in there is looking for the same trade at the same time. And that's why the community is so active and everybody's talking to each other and comparing their counts and whether or not they think this is a pivot and blah, 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 because we're all looking for the same thing. All our eyes are on the same thing. And so therefore, when it's time to pull the trigger, everybody who's in the Discord at that time is basically pulling the trigger together. And that was an accidental part of the model that just turned out to be really good. And so my OKX manager then taught me a lot about how that world works, how you get these deals with exchanges, how you get to go on paid trips, but also how you get to do campaigns and things like that really give back to your community. And, one thing led to another, and I ended up working with a few other exchanges now. And Bitunix was one opportunity that I got very, very early before really anyone was talking about it. I think I was one of the first people to start, maybe the first English, I'm not 100% sure, but I was one of the first people to start talking about Bitunix. I really liked the platform. My orders get filled fast when I'm leverage trading. And yes, the links are in the description down below. Like, get onto Bitunix. It does get you into our free Discord as well. But this whole trip that they decided to put together, I realized this is the travel part of Trade Travel Chill. It's me creating very good relationships with exchanges. It's me delivering on my promises to them so that they then want to reward my community. That's how this goes around. And in rewarding my community gets to get the travel experiences that they may never purchase for themselves. And that's what I now need to work really hard on. And I am. I'm planning 2 other trips. I don't know how soon I'll get them across the line, but that's how we're going to do it. You know, this is how I'm going to find a way for my community to get really skilled at trading because they want to be part of these experiences, and B, the exchanges want to give this value back to them for that commitment and that loyalty. And then C, we get to have these experiences and people get to see parts of the world that maybe they never would have chosen for themselves. So those are my updates. That's my plan. We're building multi-language channels. You know, I know a lot of smaller creators watch me, not even small. When I say smaller, I'm in that boat too, by the way. So I'm not being like, you're small, I'm big. Like, I'm small. I mean under 100K channels, you know, and people watch me from all over the world. So if you want to jump on this train with me, let me know. We're doing this together. And like I said, it's going well so far. So we'll expand that way. Also working with the exchanges to make sure that these future travel opportunities that we do are extended to the communities of my partners. So it's just going to be great. It's going to be a great 2025, but I still learned a lot from this Dubai trip, and I just wanted to share it with you and, you know, just show you a bit of like how cool it was. That's it, guys. Let me know if you enjoyed this rant on the success of TTC, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.